Hey, Derek Giddings here from the HK shooting team, and today I've got some VP9s to show you. I want to show you 3 different triggers, or trigger options you have for your VP9. So let's start right here first. This is an all-factory VP9. This is one of the first ones, I think the serial number on it is 500 and something that came out. VP9's been out for almost 4 years now, and this has not been changed at all factory. I want to show you how this trigger compares to this VP9 that has the Lazy Wolf guns tuning job on the trigger. It's a factory trigger with their tuning job for competition. So you're going to see how that compares to that trigger, and then we're going to compare it to the all-new joint venture, the prototype trigger here, which is a teamwork effort from Lazy Wolf Guns, Rick Holm, and HK Parts. But this is not a factory trigger. It is a replacement trigger, and I want to show you how that compares to these other two. And then at the very end, since everybody always asks about P7 triggers and how they compare, we're going to look at the new trigger compared to the old standard, tried and true striker-fired P7. So let's dive right back in over here to the all-factory VP9 that most people are going to be familiar with. And let's look at some of the geometry here. So the striker is ready to go right here, and you'll see the pre-travel, the take-up that you're used to, followed by the break, the reset, and the break. Let's do that again. Take up, you hit a nice firm wall on the factory gun, and you've got that nice clean break, followed by the reset, another nice clean break. On the factory gun, you really feel a nice wall when you set that trigger. Okay, awesome trigger. Best striker fired pistol trigger you can get on an out-of-the-box factory gun. So like all of us in competition, we like to push the limits and see how good we can make things. And Rick Holm, being the best HK gunsmith for doing some of the trigger work, has a package where he'll tune the factory trigger. He doesn't change any parts, he just does some tuning to adjust the trigger pull weight and the take up a little bit. And I want to show you here. So here we go. Let's be sure you pay attention to the geometry in here and how the trigger works. Take up, just like the factory gun. The break, when you feel the wall, the difference on that break is it's a lighter trigger pull into the break than the factory gun. Reset, similar to the factory gun. Take up similar, and the break just feels lighter. So in comparing the two, the first thing I noticed when I had Rick's work is it was a really easy transition to Rick's cleanup job, if you will, because everything really was the same except the wall before the break was lighter. So in competition, that lets you get off some follow-up shots a little bit faster. Again, it's not to say you can't make fast follow-up shots with this. I've had success, a lot of success with both platforms. So triggers are very personal and subjective. So my experience is they're both awesome. This is just a little bit of a lighter trigger pull. Now, this new trigger is completely different, and the geometry is the big thing that stands out. So if you look for just a second at the two triggers side by side, you can see one's flat, the other is curved. But what I want you to see is where the trigger's set here in relation. This trigger is further forward than the factory trigger. It's just a little bit back. So when your finger's on the trigger, it does feel different initially with the new trigger. So the geometry is a little bit different. Now in this gun, with this trigger, the reset, you still have that pre-travel movement right here, just like on a factory gun. And again, here I'm going to want you to pay attention to where that wall hits in relation to what I'll show you in just a second on the factory gun. And what I want you to see here too is how the trigger is straight up and down, flat, right there before the break. So I'm on the wall, and I break the shot, reset, break, reset, reset, break, reset, break. Now, let's look at the factory trigger with the Lazy Wolf cleanup work here. Again, you see the angles and the geometry are different. Break. You can see there's a little bit more travel into that reset. But both excellent. So, again, which trigger is the best and which trigger is the right one? I don't know. They're all very, very good. It's all subjective. This appears to be very, 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 very good for what it is. I'm looking forward to getting it and shooting it and trying it. I've not shot it yet. It's ready to go. So I'll report back after trying it. The truth will be in the holes punched in the paper.